About top 5 things that a company expects from a senior software engineer. If you are working as a software engineer and you want to work as a senior software engineer in the near future, then this video can be of help to you. So let's look at the top 5 things. First one, actually, before we get into the top 5, I would like to say something here. Like, as a senior, you are not just expected to execute tasks, which might be the scope for junior or mid level roles. So, suppose you are working as a software engineer right now. Now, as a software engineer, like junior or mid level software engineer, for example, you may be working on certain tasks, right? And your focus will be mostly on completing those tasks. But as a senior software engineer, a company expects more from you. So you are expected to work closely with the business folks, like the product team or the stakeholders. And at the same time, you are expected to drive the team to deliver the implementation. Okay, so with that said, let's start with the top 5. The first one is create architecture or high level design. Now, this is a very important skill that you need to have, which is to design systems. By design systems, what do we mean? So, at a very high level, it means that before you solve a problem, you create a solution document in which you specify what uh, what the problem is and how you want to solve that problem. So you want to define the architecture. The architecture should meet the functional and non-functional requirements. Okay, that's the idea. And you should be able to create value by delivering stable and scalable engineering solutions. So the architecture which you propose or which you work on should be able to take care of scalability, of performance, availability, apart from the functional requirements. The product that you are building or the feature that you are building, how is that supposed to perform? Right? So those are few things that needs to be covered as part of the architecture document. Functional requirements and non-functional requirements. So this is an important skill to have, and as a senior person in the team, you will be expected to take care of this part. Like, you can obviously work with the senior architects in your company, but this is something which you need to own as well. Second thing, be technically competent. Now, as a software engineer, you are expected to know a programming language, for instance, pretty well, say JavaScript, Python, or Java. So it can be any of the languages. So you need to be good at a language and probably a framework. But when it comes to a senior software engineer, one thing is you need to be good at technical skills, and you are expected to contribute to all the stages of the software development lifecycle, which means starting from analysis phase to design, which we discussed in the previous slide, to development, testing, deployment, and maintenance. I mean, you should be competent enough to contribute to all these stages of the SDLC. Now, apart from this, what is needed is you should be familiar with the patterns, design patterns, and best practices, like coding best practices, for example, solid principles, or single responsibility principle, for example, which is part of solid, and then like keep it simple, stupid, if you have heard about it, case principle, and similarly there are other patterns and principles. So you are expected to be familiar and apply these principles and practices to the software development. And apart from that, like I just mentioned, you should be able to contribute to all the stages of the SDLC. So technically competent means good at programming languages and frameworks, and then being able to contribute to all the stages of the software lifecycle. The next one is, as a senior, you are expected to advocate for improvements to product quality, security, and performance. So, say you are working on some product, right? You obviously there will be gaps, there will be things that you want to improve, or things that need attention. So as a senior, you are expected to call those out, right? To provide ideas, to give feedbacks, and also look at areas where things can be improved. It can be quality, it can be security, and obviously the way the product performs. How can you improve all these things, right? So you should be an advocate for those things. Next is, you should be able to mentor junior team members. So you should be able to help your junior folks, by resolving their blockers, for example, by helping them understand things better, and also, like uh, advocating for best practices, doing code reviews, and giving feedbacks and ideas to make them climb up the ladder, right? So it's like holding the hands of your junior members so that they can move up the ladder, and that's how you will also move up the ladder, right? So it's important that you mentor the juniors so that they can take a senior position in the future. The next and a very important thing, skill, is obviously communication skills. So you should be able to communicate effectively as a senior member. And one of the important reasons why this is important, so to say, is because you will be interacting with the stakeholders, with the business folks, and maybe with other teams, right? And when you are able to communicate clearly, I mean, that not only helps to resolve things quickly, but also creates a good impression on others that you are someone who is able to speak clearly with clarity of thought. So I'll highly recommend that you develop, if you think this is something that you are not very good at, then you can spend some time to improve your communication skills. And that's about it. So these are the 5 skills or 5 things that a company expects as you become a senior resource. Hope this video was helpful to you. Thank you.